I didn't.
I was just going to say that if you've lived all your life with these fears, how do you recognise them?
In other words, all these fears are now real to you. Of course.
Well, 45 years and that's your life basically, isn't
Yep.
it? So I don't even know what my fears are, let alone my desires sometimes.
With fear, by the way, please don't tell yourself that you don't know what they are, because that's a lie. You know exactly what they are, but you don't want to know. You see, the trouble with our fears is we don't want to know what they are. That's why you're not being able to list them. Like, when I started this process, if somebody said, list your fears, I would have written down 2 or 3 things. Many of you have asked you to write down your fears, and I went up to one lady in one of the workshops up when we were up at Maloney, and she had 4 things written. And I'm feeling her fears, and feeling like she could have written 30 pages and still not ended it, right? The reason why is because most of us don't even want to have an intellectual awareness of what our fears really are. Now, with anything that happens like that, the first thing we need to do is pray. So the first thing we need to do is pray, please, God, give me the ability to see my fears. Right? Because I want to start seeing my fears, not just ignoring them anymore and denying them anymore and making out they're not there anymore and all those things. What I want to do instead is see them for what they are. And as soon as you start having a true desire towards God to create a list of your fears, guess what you'll have? A list of your fears. Until that point, you won't have a list of your fears. So someone else can come up and tell you, oh, I think you're afraid of this, I think you're afraid of that, I think you're afraid of this, I think you're afraid of that. And some of that might resonate, some of them might not. But at the end of the day, unless you really want to know what you're afraid of, you won't want to do anything about it anyway. Does that make sense to you? So my suggestion is, if you have no idea what you're afraid of, start asking God to tell you what you're afraid of. And develop a desire to know what you're afraid of. Because remember, what I desire, I create. If I don't know what I'm afraid of, that's because I don't want to know what I'm afraid of. The same principle applies. What I desire, I create. So if what I created is that I have no idea what fears I have, I want to have no idea of what fears I have. And that's the thing I need to change if I want to grow. Does that make sense? Yeah. So this is the beauty of honesty with yourself, is that often we tell ourselves all these hidden messages like that are totally untrue. We say, I do want to progress towards God, but no progress is happening. So I look at that and I say, no progress is happening. I need to be honest with myself. I've had periods of time in my own progression where no progress happened. None, for months, like 3 or 4 months, nothing. What did I want? I desired no progress, because that's what I created. Why would I desire no progress? Because I'm afraid of something. Do I desire to even know what I'm afraid of? No, because I don't want to know what I'm afraid of. Like, it must be pretty big, right? So I'm probably terrified rather than afraid. So then I have to go into my terror. All right, I need to go into my terror. What am I terrified of? I'm terrified that I might die, or I'm terrified that this might happen, or I'm terrified that I might be jailed, I'm terrified that I'll lose my girl, I'm terrified, whatever I'm terrified about. Then I start getting honest with myself about my feelings, and now I can see my blocks to desire, and now I can start progressing again. You see, what we get is what we wanted. Here, not here, here. So we need to be honest about that truth, and if we're honest enough about that truth, we can then take the next step, which is, why would I want it? What am I afraid of? What is my real emotion? Because it's my emotion that creates everything. Right? So even the emotion of, like, people come up to me and say, I got no idea how to progress. The answer to that statement is, you don't want to have any idea how to progress. Right at that moment, you don't want to. Here, emotionally, don't want to have any idea how to progress. Now, why would you want to create that? There must be some very good emotional reasons, right? And go for them, find them, let yourself experience them and release them. Yeah? So my feeling is that if you allow yourself to pray to God about wanting or having a desire to know your fears, usually within a few days, you'll know quite a few of them, right? Because God definitely answers pure desire prayers. Yep. And you'll find them through your law of attraction. You know, you'll be driving along, got cut off on the road, pulled off to the side. Oh, yeah, I'm afraid of an accident. You know, that's kind of thing that will happen through your law of attraction. You'll see what you're afraid of. I'm afraid of dying. I'm afraid of being injured. I'm afraid of... And away you can go, you know, like with your fears. And then with your emotional fears, you'll start noticing things happen, like maybe a little fissure in a relationship with a person or a fissure in a relationship with a friend, and you start knowing, I'm afraid of losing this friend. I can see that now. I never saw that before, I can see that now. Pray to God about seeing it, and you'll soon see it happen. You see, what happens, a lot of people have suppressed their desire so much that they have no desire to feel their own truth. What I desire, I create. So, that being the case, I would actually be saying to myself, right, if what I desire, create, and I don't have any feelings of any emotional injury in me, that's because I don't want to know. And look, lo and behold. And if I say, I've got no emotional injuries, and I'm not yet at one with God, and I'm not in a state of pure bliss and love all my life, and I'm saying to you, I've got no emotional injuries, am I speaking a truth? No, but I am speaking my own truth in that I think I've got no emotional injuries, and what I desired, I created. Right? I created this belief inside of me that I've got nothing to work on. Why would I want to create that belief? Can you see? There's a lot of emotional reasons why I'd want to create that one. Right? You imagine if I start seeing myself as I truly am, how's that going to feel? I'd rather not do that. What I'd rather do is make this big fictitious image of myself that I can look at and admire and say, yeah, he's a nice fella, so that I don't have to see myself as I truly am. We do this all the time because we don't want to see what's in. God wants us to see what's in if we want to become at one with God, because God will eventually have you. You will be at one with God, so therefore you will see yourself as you truly are at that point. So this is part of this growth, is seeing yourself as you truly are. Warts and all, as the saying goes. Like